Good morning, sunshine! A lot of artists comment on YouTube about how they have difficulty finishing sketchbooks and that they can't bring themselves to finish them, leaving them unfinished instead. So I thought I would show you all my current unfinished sketchbooks so you can get an idea and maybe feel better about yours. So that pile over there, that's everything I'm currently using, and I'll be going through it one by one, telling you what I'm using that sketchbook for, how long it's been ongoing, and if I ever plan on finishing it. First we have this blue sketchbook that I bought at Michael's and I've been using quite a lot since I bought it. It has a place to put a pencil, so I always keep a color-erased pencil in there. And it also has a big pocket on the inside, which can be pretty useful. I would say that right now this is my favorite sketchbook. It's probably going to be done very soon because if I'm not mistaken I only have about 10 pages left or so. I bought this one about 3 months ago, so that makes it about 3 months to finish this sketchbook, which is pretty nice. It's pretty fast-paced. It's a pace I'm comfortable with. The next sketchbook tour I put out will probably be this one, as a matter of fact. So that is number 1 out of the way. Sketchbook number 2 that I've been using a lot is my render sketchbook. I made a video on this sketchbook before if you're interested, so I'll leave a link to it in the description so you can check it out and hear my thoughts about the paper. I like the render sketchbook a lot because of the size. It makes it easier for me to fill up the page and feel satisfied. However, it will take me longer than my other sketchbooks to complete simply because I can work on the back side of the page in this sketchbook, which I don't in others because everything I use bleeds through. I've had this sketchbook since May of this year and I don't know when I'm going to complete it. This is another sketchbook I've been using a lot lately. This is one of my looser, uglier sketchbooks that I use mostly for learning and not for showing off, so I don't usually show people what's in it. I've been trying to use it to learn to do more fantasy art and add buildings and fantastic environments around my illustrations. I started it about 3 or 4 months ago and I have no idea when it's going to be finished, or even if it's going to be finished at all. My fourth favorite at the moment, if you haven't seen my cheap art supply challenge yet, I'll link you to it down in the description. But it's basically, I kept the sketchbook that I used to do my cheap art supply challenge in and I've been using it with cheap mediums to try to get better at them. And also this makes this into a stress-free environment to sketch, so that's kind of great. If I'm not feeling too great and I feel like what I'm going to draw that day is going to really be bad, I might deliberately choose the sketchbook because then it doesn't matter if it's as bad. I like it a lot, but cheap art supplies are something I get easily tired of, so although right now filling it up is going really quickly, it's been about 3 months that I've had it and I'm not sure when I'm going to finish it again. Or if. It's alright if I don't. This sketchbook is a sketchbook that I used a lot during the school year last year. It was supposed to be my main sketchbook and I drew in it a lot, but I had some issues with it. In some areas, the pages started tearing from the binding and I had to tape them down. It might not sound that troublesome, but when my sketchbook started falling apart at school, it got kind of inconvenient, so I found myself that I stopped using it. So what we get is a sketchbook that is more than half complete, but I'm probably never going to finish it just because I don't like the paper and I don't like the fact that it keeps falling apart on me. Here I have a sketchbook that was supposed to be character creation, concepts, and designs, but ended up not being that at all. Now I'm just doing kind of whatever in it. I started it a while ago. I think the first page I did I think the first page I did over a year ago, but then the second page I did about 6 months ago, so we're not... Yeah, I pick this sketchbook up when I feel like doing larger pieces, which isn't very often, and so most of the time it's a bit neglected. I have about this much filled in it. There's so much more left to go. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. I have so much trouble working on bigger paper. This sketchbook is a little bit like the last one. It's a bit bigger, so I don't use it very often. Again, I started this one over a year ago, but it doesn't have very much to it yet. And this one I have about that much filled and this much left to go, so that's a lot. I'd love to get to learn bigger sketchbooks more, but I feel like that is something I might have to revisit when I work from home instead of when I'm dragging my sketchbook to class all the time, because this is kind of bulky in my school bag. Here we have my Bee Paper Company sketchbook. It's a marker sketchbook, and it is the first marker sketchbook I bought, and it contains my first ever marker illustration in it, so that's kind of cool. The reason the sketchbook isn't as filled as my other things is because since I've got the render sketchbook, I've been doing my marker pieces in the render sketchbook instead of this one, so this one has been a bit neglected. It might end up never finished. I started it almost exactly a year ago. This one isn't as much a sketchbook as it is a blank notebook that I use like a sketchbook. This isn't really a regular sketchbook. What I've been doing in it is some collage, and I've been trying to turn this into a project where in this book I put what I envision my life will be like in 10 years, or what I would like my life to be like in 10 years. So in 10 years from now I can look at this book and cringe. That's what this one is. I don't know if it's ever going to be finished because I work in it so infrequently. I got this mixed media Strathmore sketchbook when I was trying to get into watercolors, but once I used it about a grand total of once, and then decided I wasn't sure if I liked the paper thickness of it. I'm not used to working on very thick paper. I prefer thin paper that is very good at repelling water, if that makes any sense. Just because I think that the watercolors floating on top of the page can look really beautiful. So yeah, Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook has one page that isn't even complete, and then it's completely blank. So many free pages. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish this sketchbook, but I might. At least I only paid $5 for it. My university bookstore is really good with the price of art supplies and sketchbooks. It's amazing. Here we have a tiny sketchbook that I bought by mistake when I was trying to get the bigger version of this. I actually like the Canson paper a lot, and this was me trying to get the paper that I was used to before in the previous I had before this one. I didn't do very much in it. I tend to bring it along with me when I don't have a lot of space for sketching, but I might still be in a location where I feel like sketching. A lot of them are very low effort, but then the one that I have on the very first page is kind of really beautiful and I really like it, so I might finish the sketchbook one day just because it has some nice things in it. This big sketchbook here is something I got from back home when I visited my mom. It has some original ideas right before I started my YouTube channel of what I wanted to have on my YouTube channel. So there were concept sketches for illustrations that I wanted to do and things like that. I've since this sketchbook improved a lot since this was almost 3 years ago, and what I used to do is when I would want to use the sketch, I'd rip out the page and then I would transfer it and do it on other paper just because I don't like this paper very much. It is more than half complete, however I've kind of abandoned it. I don't know if I'm gonna revisit it someday and maybe try to finish it. Here's a Hilroy sketchbook that I didn't know I had that I found just now when I was cleaning, and it has an environment study from 2014 and then some really light sketches on the next couple pages and then pretty much nothing for the rest of it. I didn't even know this was a thing, but the paper feels really good under my fingers right now, so I might try to draw in it when I finish filming this video. Yeah, this one's probably also going to stay unfinished all its life, just because I feel like my opportunity's passed now. Here we have 15 sheets of watercolor paper. I've so far used 1 or 2 of them to do one of my mermaid pieces last year. I'll put a link down in the description to that. But I found that I don't use very much watercolor paper at all, and I kind of prefer to destroy my paper, so this is probably going to stay empty forever, or I'm going to rip it apart and it will never be a sketchbook, it'll just be separate sheets of paper. Here we have an acrylic pad that probably will suffer the same fate as the other one. I've used it maybe once or twice and I don't think I'm going to use it again, or if I will, it's in the distant future where I can't possibly fit them right now. So yeah, this one might stay unfinished as well. I bought this thing because I bought it for my best friend and he liked it a lot, so I thought I might like it as well. And it hasn't been the case, mostly because the prompts don't really inspire me. However, I have done a few of them, and I do intend on someday making maybe a YouTube series where I pick something on these pages and I draw it, except I don't know which medium exactly I want to be using in it, so that has been delaying it a little bit. This sketchbook is unfinished at the moment. It will be for a very long time. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, but I'll probably work on it some more. This very huge and very beautiful sketchbook was bought to me by my mom for my birthday last year, and it cost her a lot, and the paper is very interesting. It has a lot of texture to it and it's kind of stiff. So I would like to work into it and see what works with it, but it's so beautiful that I've been having a lot of trouble working in it. Here's a little sketchbook type thing that my mom bought me in Mexico. And although I feel it's a bit unfair to call it an unfinished sketchbook before I even start it, I have a feeling that when I do start it, it's going to stay unfinished for a long time. The paper looks like it might be recycled paper or something, but it has, I don't know if you can see, some kind of like speckling to it, which could be really interesting if you're working with it, but I feel like I might get tired of it really quickly. So this is another small sketchbook that will probably stay unfinished for a very long time. Not technically a sketchbook, but I felt I had to mention it. This file was supposed to be my portfolio, so I put a lot of things that I was really proud of in it, and I ended up never really finishing a portfolio or sending it to anyone. So I've removed a lot of pieces from here since then and put them elsewhere, but I still have some really old pieces in here that I used to really like, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna revisit this envelope or do anything with it. I feel like it's kind of unfinished because I could add anything or remove anything from it even now, so yeah, this goes in the list too. I'm filming this video a bit ahead of time, so I haven't yet opened the sketchbook to use it because I'm waiting to complete the blue one, but by the time you see this video, I will probably be finished the blue one and onto this one. I bought it from Chapters when they had a sale where you didn't pay shipping for the day, so it's a slightly larger size than I'm used to, but I feel like that might get me used to working bigger, which is a good thing. Although I have plans of using this one, I don't know if it will ever be finished. I go with my gut feelings with these things, and if I start using it and I don't feel it's right, it's okay to just put it down and never complete it. If I do pick it up and think that it's right, I will finish it, like the blue one. I think sketchbooks are a personal thing. It shouldn't matter if you have difficulty finishing them or if you never finish them, and it shouldn't matter if it takes you years to complete a sketchbook while it might take someone else a month to complete a sketchbook. I like having a variety just because it helps me decide which medium I want to use on which paper, and I can use what is best suited for my mood at the moment, which is quite nice. I just wanted to give my perspective on the issue and say that it's alright never to finish sketchbooks. Sketchbooks aren't supposed to be a stressful thing. I feel perfectly fine looking at this pile of sketchbook and knowing that I might never finish some of them. And that's the way it should be. The most important thing is if you're drawing. As long as you're drawing, I wouldn't worry about not finishing sketchbooks or not having pretty enough sketchbooks. A sketchbook is a place where you learn. As long as you're making use of it, you're not doing it wrong. Alright, I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my unfinished sketchbooks while you might have seen some of my finished sketchbooks before. So this was a little bit of a new perspective. If you would like more of these longer types of videos, just leave a comment down below telling me about it. I'm not very used to talking for very long periods of time to a camera, but I feel like I'm getting more comfortable at it and it's getting slightly better. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and I will see you next Wednesday or Friday. Bye!